What if everything you believed about yourself and the world around you was wrong? In this video, I'm going to share a shocking, life-changing story from a man who was once living as an openly gay man, someone who thought he had everything figured out. But what happened to him next, after a near-fatal accident, completely transformed his life and beliefs in ways that will leave you speechless. He had an encounter with something that shattered his understanding of life, love, and the afterlife. And the truth he discovered changed his path forever. This isn't just a story about one man's personal journey. It's about a revelation that could challenge everything you think you know about the choices we make, the consequences they carry, and the eternal impact they have. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear may change the way you see the world. Let's dive into the story. Hi, my name is Zachary Blackwood. I'm 47 years old, and I live in Burlington, Vermont. But before I tell you about the life-changing experience that nearly killed me, you need to understand a little bit about who I was before all of this happened. I was living a life that I thought was perfect. I had a good job as a graphic designer at a local advertising agency, a beautiful 2-story house by Lake Champlain, and a loving partner named Marcus. I was openly gay, and we had been together for 3 years. We had a great life, a happy life, and I didn't question any of it. In fact, I thought I had it all figured out. But one crisp fall morning, something happened that would shake the foundation of everything I believed in, something that would force me to confront the truth in a way I never could have imagined. It started like any other day. I was on my way to work, sipping my usual caramel macchiato, enjoying the colors of the autumn trees. I had just finished a phone call with Marcus about our weekend plans when, out of nowhere, a massive moose appeared right in front of my car. Now, moose accidents aren't that uncommon in Vermont, but nothing prepares you for a 1,500-pound animal standing right in your path. I slammed on the brakes and swerved to avoid hitting it. But at 65 miles per hour, there was no way I could regain control. My car spun wildly off the road, crashing through several trees before finally coming to a stop at the bottom of a ravine. The impact was brutal. I was pinned inside the car, unable to move. My side of the car was completely crushed, and I could feel the pain in every inch of my body. The next thing I remember was the sound of helicopter blades above me, the sharp voices of paramedics, and the metallic screech of the jaws of life as they cut me out of the wreckage. It took over an hour for the rescue team to reach me. I had lost so much blood, 4 broken ribs, a punctured lung, internal bleeding, and a severe head injury. When they airlifted me to the hospital, the doctors later told me that I died twice during the helicopter ride. The first time for 3 minutes, and the second time for 4 minutes. But during those minutes when my heart stopped, during the time when my body was lying lifeless in the helicopter, I had an experience that changed my life forever. It wasn't like the peaceful, warm light you often hear about in near-death experiences. What I saw, what I felt, was far more terrifying, far more intense than anything I could have imagined. At first, everything went dark. It wasn't like falling asleep or just losing consciousness. It was instant, and it felt completely real. I could feel myself separating from my body, like I was floating above it. I saw the paramedics working frantically on my body, but I didn't feel any attachment to it, like I was watching a movie about someone else's life. It was strange, detached, yet incredibly vivid. And then it happened, the tunnel. But it wasn't a peaceful, glowing tunnel as you might expect. Instead, it was a swirling vortex, pulling me in with such incredible force that it felt like I was being sucked through a vacuum at impossible speeds. The colors were unlike anything I've ever seen before, and there was this deep, vibrating hum that seemed to shake my entire being. As I moved through this tunnel, I began to experience the full weight of my life's actions. It wasn't just memories flashing before my eyes. It was as if I was reliving every single moment, but this time I felt the full consequences of my choices. Every lie I had told, every selfish decision I had made, every person I had hurt, they all carried a weight. And that weight pressed on me, crushing me under the realization of just how far I had strayed from the truth. But then, just as I thought I couldn't bear it any longer, something amazing happened. I felt a shift, a new kind of energy, the kind that could change everything. And it got me thinking, what if there was a way to access that shift in the real world? Now, speaking of real-world transformation, have you ever wondered how some people seem to attract massive amounts of wealth effortlessly? What if I told you that today, right now, you could learn the shocking wealth secrets that have already changed the lives of millions? Secrets that were uncovered by a rogue NASA scientist, now available to you. These strategies are already going viral, helping people unlock financial breakthroughs beyond imagination. This isn't just about dreaming, it's about doing. If you're ready to experience a huge shift in your life, check the link in the comments below. Don't wait, because this opportunity could be gone before you know it. Now, let's get back into this exploration and see where it takes us next. The most painful revelation came when I saw Marcus, not in the loving way I had always seen him, but from a completely different perspective. Our relationship, which I had always believed to be love, was actually causing spiritual harm to both of us. The intimate moments we shared appeared as dark spots on our souls, like ink drops spreading in clear water. And then I saw my childhood. I remembered feeling different from other boys, the confusion, the fear, the defiance against traditional values. But now, from this new perspective, I saw how each step away from my early religious upbringing had led me further from the truth. As I continued to move through this strange, otherworldly experience, everything shifted. I found myself in an immense, indescribable space, neither light nor dark, just there. And in that space, I wasn't alone. A presence approached me. It wasn't a physical form, but I knew immediately who it was. Jesus. The moment I saw him, I recognized him without question. It was like remembering something I had always known, but had somehow forgotten. His presence was overwhelming, pure love, yes, but also an undeniable authority. In that moment, I knew I was standing in front of the King of Kings, the judge of all creation. I wanted to fall to my knees. I wanted to hide, but I couldn't. His love for me was so intense, it almost hurt. But at the same time, that love didn't mean unconditional acceptance of everything I had done. I didn't hear words, but somehow I understood his message. He loved me, but my lifestyle, the choice to embrace homosexuality, was not in line with his design for my life. He showed me that my sexual orientation itself wasn't the sin. The sin was in the choice to act on it, to embrace it, and to make it my identity. In that moment, I saw how my decisions had not only impacted my own life, but also the lives of others. Every time I had encouraged someone else to embrace homosexuality, I was unknowingly leading them away from the truth, away from salvation. Jesus then showed me something that still haunts me to this day. He showed me other souls, countless souls, who had made the same choices I had. These souls weren't in hell, but they weren't in heaven either. They were trapped in a kind of holding place. They had justified their lifestyle choices, but in doing so, they had created a barrier between themselves and God's truth. They couldn't move forward because they refused to accept the truth about their choices. Then came the most terrifying part. Jesus allowed me to glimpse hell, not the cartoonish, fiery version we often hear about, but something much worse. It was a place of complete separation from God's love. Souls were there experiencing the full consequences of their decisions, without hope, without redemption. But through all of this, there was no condemnation from Jesus, only love. A love that desired for me to understand the truth. He showed me how the male and female union was more than just physical. It was a spiritual reality, reflecting deep truths about God's relationship with humanity. I was shown how modern culture's embrace of alternative lifestyles wasn't progress, it was a deception. Every step away from God's design for marriage and gender roles was a step further away from divine truth. Through this experience, I understood that true love isn't about affirming people's choices, no matter how popular or accepted those choices are. True love is about helping others find their way to God's truth, even when that truth is difficult or unpopular. When my experience in that profound, otherworldly realm ended, I found myself standing at a crossroads. I was given a choice. I could remain in that realm of perfect peace and love, embracing the divine presence that held me with compassion, or I could return to earth, armed with a new understanding, but facing the inevitable challenges of living that truth. As much as I was drawn to stay, I knew in my heart that I had unfinished business. I was shown glimpses of the life that awaited me if I chose to return, a life filled with trials, loss, and painful decisions. It was clear that my life as I knew it would be altered forever. Friendships would be tested, my sense of identity would be questioned, and I would have to make the hardest decision of all, to leave Marcus, the man with whom I had built my life and shared my dreams. It felt like an impossible choice. How could I abandon someone I genuinely loved? How could I face a future that would almost certainly bring heartbreak and loneliness? But I knew that choosing to stay in the divine presence without acknowledging my unrepented actions would lead to a reckoning in that very same realm. The love I felt there was pure, and to remain in that state required me to live in alignment with what I had been shown as truth. That meant taking responsibility for my choices and embodying a new way of living. So I chose to return. I decided to bring the lessons I had learned back with me, even though I didn't fully understand how I would live them out. I knew the road ahead would be difficult, perhaps even more challenging than anything I faced before. But I was committed to this new purpose. When I woke up in the hospital, the physical pain was overwhelming. Every breath reminded me of the crash. Every movement felt like fire spreading through my body. But none of it compared to the intensity of the spiritual awakening that had taken place within me. I felt as though I'd been given a new heart and a new mind, but my body was still struggling to catch up. My soul felt alive with purpose, but I was returning to a life that now felt foreign and uncertain. Laying in that hospital bed, I knew I had been given a second chance, and I resolved to live differently, even if it meant facing the world alone. The days and weeks following my return were some of the hardest of my life. Physically, I was in constant pain, adjusting to a body still healing from the trauma of the accident. But the emotional and spiritual pain went much deeper. I felt like a stranger in my own life, trying to reconcile who I had been with the person I now felt called to become. Marcus visited me daily at first, his presence a comforting reminder of the life we had shared. But as I began sharing my experience with him, a distance grew between us. I could see the confusion in his eyes, hear the disbelief in his voice, and feel the tension building with each conversation. He wanted the old me back, the partner he had known, loved, and trusted. But I couldn't return to that person, not after what I'd experienced. Marcus grew increasingly frustrated, sometimes even angry, as he struggled to understand. He suggested that perhaps the trauma had affected my mind, causing me to imagine things that weren't real. Our conversations became strained, and I could see the pain my words were causing him. He couldn't understand why I was choosing this path, and eventually he stopped visiting. Losing him felt like losing a piece of myself, and the grief was almost unbearable. Yet, even in the loneliness, I found comfort in the memory of the divine presence I had encountered. That memory sustained me, reminding me that this path, as painful as it was one I was meant to walk. I sought out a local church, a place where I could find support and guidance. There, I found people who listened without judgment, who prayed with me and encouraged me to pursue the truth I had experienced. Slowly, I began the journey of transformation, even though I knew it would come at a cost. As word spread about my new beliefs and the changes in my life, I faced backlash from many people I had once called friends. Former colleagues and members of the gay community I had once felt at home with began to distance themselves, sometimes with harsh words and accusations. Some called me a traitor, accusing me of internalized homophobia or of spreading harmful beliefs. The hurt ran deep, as these were people I had shared my life and struggles with for years. Social media attacks followed, with people posting hurtful comments and questioning my sanity, my motives, even my integrity. But even in the midst of all this, messages began to arrive from people who were experiencing their own quiet doubts, people who felt they, too, were missing something deeper. Their stories were different from mine, yet we shared a common search for truth, a yearning for peace, and a longing to understand our lives in a new light. As my transformation continued, I realized that I wanted to offer others a safe space to explore these questions. Today, I run a support group for individuals who, like me, may be questioning aspects of their identity or seeking a path aligned with a spiritual calling. This group isn't about forcing anyone to change, and I never push my own experiences onto others. Instead, it's a place for open conversation, where people can come as they are and talk about their fears, their questions, and their hopes for a life that feels true to them. I now see my role as one of love and support, sharing what I have learned without judgment. It's not my place to tell anyone what their life should look like. But I believe that by sharing my story, I can offer a glimpse of what peace and truth have meant for me. And for those who choose to pursue a similar journey, I am here to support them in love, to listen without prejudice, and to walk with them as they seek their own understanding. This path has not been easy. I've lost friends, faced criticism, and had to let go of someone I deeply loved. But in all of this, I have found a peace that surpasses anything I could have imagined. My life now is about sharing that peace, helping others find the courage to ask hard questions, and discovering what it means to live in alignment with a purpose greater than ourselves. The accident that nearly took Zachary's life didn't just alter the course of his physical journey. It marked the beginning of a profound spiritual transformation. Every week, Zachary hears from people whose lives have been deeply impacted by his testimony, individuals who have found healing, hope, and a renewed sense of purpose in the truth he now embraces. This journey has shown him that sharing personal stories can have a powerful effect, especially when they can bring others closer to understanding and healing. Zachary's mission is not to condemn, but to love. Unconditional, transformative love. The kind of love that doesn't shy away from difficult truths. Even when those truths challenge comfort zones, even when they go against what's popular or accepted. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is speak hard truths, because in the end, the consequences of ignoring them are far too profound to remain silent about. Zachary understands it's not about forcing anyone to change their beliefs or lifestyle. It's about offering his truth with love and compassion. It's about giving people the freedom to make their own choices while sharing the truth that has set him free. Because when we embrace that truth, we step onto a path of lasting peace and fulfillment. If Zachary's story has resonated with you in any way, he encourages you to share this video. You never know how your act of sharing might touch someone else's heart, someone who might be waiting to hear these words, even if they don't know it yet. Thank you for listening and being open to this journey with Zachary. Together, we can share this message and invite others to step into the light of understanding and healing. May your path forward be filled with peace, love, and the truth that sets you free.